Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Awesome.
You win a winner chicken dinner.
Um,
So we don't even know what you heard.
no. So tonight we're talking about predator proofing the homestead, and hopefully our sound will stay on this time. Don't touch anything. So,
So
what type of predators do we have?
so people get into homesteading and they think about getting chickens and they think about getting animals and they don't think about Mother Nature and the vicious cycle of life that happens.
Yes.
Because everything eats something and everything loves chicken. And so that could be foxes, that could be hawks, it could be coyotes, wolves. What's the possum?
Possums don't. Raccoons.
Raccoon. That's what it is.
Raccoons do.
Yeah. They all love chicken.
And we have all of those here in Central Florida.
Yes.
We also have bear.
We do have bear in Central Florida.
We haven't seen one, but some of our neighbors have in the area.
Yeah.
So.
No, we just saw a coyote walking down our street about 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah. At dusk.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even quite dusk. It was still a little bit earlier than that. So you got to predator-proof your animals because, especially if you're like us. I mean, yes, we eat our animals.
But we love them.
But we do get attached to our animals. I mean, they're cute and they're fun to watch and stuff. And you don't necessarily want them to die because of something that you did wrong. So first, let's talk about chickens, since that was the first animal that we got. So with chickens, you got to worry about.
Okay, go ahead.
You got to worry about everything. So hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't following the outline. Types of predators.
We did that one, baby.
Okay.
So what types of guard animals are there available for the homestead, first of all?
Well, first and foremost, probably livestock guardian dogs. Most people think of livestock guardian dogs, they think of Great Pyrenees and stuff like that. And Nico, even though he is a pet, he is also a livestock guardian dog. He
doesn't live with them.
No, he doesn't live with them.
When he's out there with them, he does guard them.
Right. And
he's their rooster.
He is, and he'll go out there and he protects them when he's out there. And plus, on top of that, if you have a German Shepherd, they shed hair. That's where I think they get that name. So we take their hair and we spread it on the property line to keep the predators away. He protects, and also just the odor of him being on the property.
Yeah.
We had it was about a year ago, I think maybe. We heard this would sound like a woman screeching, and so we went out on the front porch to hear what it was, and it was literally coming from the north side of the house, and it was far off, and you could tell that it was getting louder and louder and louder, and getting closer and closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it just kind of like stopped. I mean, literally we thought it was in the next yard over, and it literally stopped, and then it was quiet for about 5 minutes. And then it started up again, but this time it was across the street.
Yeah.
So it totally avoided our property.
Because it smelled Nico.
It smelled Nico and Sasha and stuff. So it smelled like dogs. That definitely helps a lot. Because we've been doing homesteading now for 4 years, 5 years. 6 years.
Almost 6.
And we've only lost one animal, knock on wood.
To a predator.
To a predator. And that was early on. And it was a fox. And it happened in the middle of the day, so it made me think maybe that fox was kind of sick or something, because they typically don't eat in the middle of the day. Yeah, could have had rabies. And at that time we were letting the chickens free range in the front yard or wherever they wanted to go. But that's the only one we ever lost, and that does also explain why the fox came on the property. If it did have rabies, because it wouldn't have cared about the smell of the dogs.
And it also happened before we got our guard animal, which we'll talk about in a minute. So another type of animal that homesteaders or farmers use, especially for like cows and to protect sheep and goats and things like that.
And if you know us, we've talked about getting this.
Is a donkey.
Right. Here, donkey. Come here, donkey.
So they can be very effective.
Right.
I did read that the miniature donkeys really don't do much because they're not much bigger than what they're trying to protect. So if it's against one of the larger predators like a coyote or something, they may not it may not protect the way it
Right.
should.
Right.
But a normal standard sized donkey is definitely a good livestock.
Yeah, it'll kick and kill a coyote and also a dog.
Yeah.
Especially if the dog's not raised around the donkey or
Mm-hmm.
if there's kind of issues there and stuff like that. But yeah.
So then,
But one of the byproducts or the good things of having a donkey is you get manure.
yes.
And manure you can compost, and it's all part of the whole interlocking circles of a homestead.
Josh says, hee haw.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So another type that we don't know much about, but I've heard that people use them as llamas. So if you're on watching, we do have some more people who've joined. Say hi to us in the chat. If you know anything about llamas, put it down in the chat because we don't know a whole lot about llamas other than they are very effective at guarding.
There are a couple homesteads around us that have llamas.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we go down to pick up the grandboys on the right hand side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people around here that have them. They obviously can breathe. And somebody was telling me the plumber. We had a plumbing problem.
Yes, we did.
On Monday.
Yeah. Sunday
night. So we're putting the animals away, and they needed water in their system. So I go into the well house and I turn the water on so Barbie can feed it. I fill the water, and then she says, "I'm done." So I turn it off, and then I tripped coming out of the well house and stepped on the PVC pipe and broke a T in half. And of course, literally this far from the well casing. So the water's just going. It looked like a fire hose.
All I heard was like a water explosion.
Right.
And I looked over and there was water going everywhere.
Yeah, so when the plumber came out to fix it, him and I were talking, and he was telling me that the eggs, llama eggs, because we got talking about duck eggs and goose eggs, they can go for $50 a piece. I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, people like to process the meat. And of course, now this is what he said. I haven't had a chance to verify it, so take it for what it's worth. But he says it has the same protein content as steak, but it doesn't have the fat that steak has. And if you know us, fat's good. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for your body. So we don't have too much experience with llamas. No. So the next one we do have experience with.
Because this is what we opted for.
Yes.
We have not one, so we have two guard geese.
Yep. And you'd be surprised. People are afraid of a goose. I mean, just the plumber. I told him, I said, because he was coming over, and Jenny likes to watch everything.
She does. And she's our OSHA inspector.
We nicknamed her our OSHA inspector because she makes sure you has your PPE on. So when the guy went back to his truck to get something, I saw she was at the fence line watching us, and I go, Jenny, are you watching us again? Does he have on his PPE? And he looked over and saw the goose. He goes, you better give that goose over there. There's a fence. She's not going to come by you. But people are afraid of a goose. And the funny thing is, if you're around geese, they can be kind of scary when they flap their wings and stuff. But that's just how they communicate.
Yeah.
And,
they're doing their job.
Yeah,
they're protecting.
Yeah, so they protect. Go ahead.
We have one guard goose. Jenny is in with our ducks in one area. And then we have Jasper, our other guard goose, who's in with all of our chickens, our layers. So the thing with guard geese, you can only have one with a flock, because if you put two together and raise them, they're going to actually bond to each other rather than bonding to whatever they're protecting. So we raised Jenny with the ducks, we raised Jasper with the chickens, and that's their flock, and they boss the chickens and the ducks around.
They even try to boss us around too.
They do.
I was moving Duke, our cow, from the back part of our property to the front part of our property, and I already moved him. And I went back, and we got these big black molasses barrels that the feed store sells and stuff. But we also fill them with water. Mm-hmm. So I was carrying that with me up to the front, and Jasper saw that, and he was like,
if I've walked in with a hat on before, Chuck's done this too, and they don't like change, so they'll flap their wings and You have to say it's okay.
Yep.
They're used to us. They're used to the grandboys. The grandboys did have to teach them who was boss, but even our 5-year-old can say no, Jenny, and stand his ground, and she leaves him alone. The only time Jenny is a little mean
that's putting it nicely.
Is during breeding season, which she hasn't been bred, but she still lays eggs. So
and she gets really broody.
Yes, she gets very broody.
So for those who don't have animals and don't know what broody means,
she's protecting her eggs, even though they're not viable eggs.
Yeah. And she, to the point to where when you're in there feeding them, like say this is your leg, she'll come up and
we've gotten bruises.
Yeah.
From her.
And most of the time I just ignore it. But every once in a while, she gets a hold of you just right, and then you got to pick her up and kind of coddle her until she calms down.
And it's funny when she's broody. She not only collects her eggs in the nest, she moves the duck eggs from wherever they are and puts them all in her nest and tries to protect them. So we're probably going to try to breed her this year with Jasper.
Right.
Put them together and see if it works. It may not because they're not used to each other.
And the cool thing about the guard geese, I gotta keep remember saying it because we have 2 now, but they always got their head like this.
Yes.
They always got that one eye on the sky. No, we keep the part of that whole predator process is we keep the chickens and the geese underneath the canopy, so that keeps an oak canopy. Yeah, so that keeps hawks and stuff from swooping in and getting them and going back out again, because they just can't do that. And Jenny keeps an eye out for them, and if something gets nearby, she'll start flapping her wings. I'm not going to hit you.
You almost did.
She'll start flapping her wings, and most hawks are like, yeah, no, I don't want no parts of that.
And we do let them out sometimes. So I've seen her and Jasper both when they saw something, another big bird. We have kites and hawks and osprey and all kinds of stuff. But when they see a big bird, I've seen them round them up and they do that flapping of the wings, but they start it's like they're ushering the rest of them, go to the shelter, and they all run over and join wherever the goose goes.
Right.
So.
And and she gets really upset when she can't protect her girls.
Yes.
Because on our fencing, there's one spot where the ducks can get through. No, they can still get through.
That's right in that corner.
Generally, they stay in their area, but every once in a while, one of them will kind of get out and she'll be walking around, and you can hear Jenny.
Yeah, we're in here working, and we'll hear her going off like something's happening.
Yeah, she's like, "Get back in here."
One of her girls was out.
Yep.
So
they also alert to us, and they're loud enough that we can hear them in the house.
Yeah.
And luckily, our houses are far apart enough that I'm sure the neighbors hear them too, but.
It wouldn't be loud enough any louder than the hawks in the area. So.
Right. Yep.
And she only does it. Well, they only do it when there's a reason to do it. Something's not right, or they're getting onto the flock. Right. But at night, if we heard it in the middle of the night, then something's going on.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we go with the guard geese is because they stay with the other chickens and the ducks 24/7, so they're always out there. And I know this is going to sound kind of cruel. If something gets a hold of Jenny or Jasper, it's just a goose, right? Don't get me wrong, we'll still be upset, but it's not like if a coyote gets a hold of Nico and kills Nico.
Yeah, true.
That would be devastating as well, but 10, 15, 20 times more devastating because Nico's our boy. And
but I've heard of guard geese actually fighting off coyotes and fox and things.
There's a YouTube video of a goose warding off a bunch of cows. It's in the field somewhere, and there's 10 or 15 cows kind of surrounding this thing, and she would start flapping her wings, and they would kind of stop, and they didn't move back fast enough, so she kind of went up to them and did the whole pecking thing, like I was explaining about how she does in the brooding, and they're like, yeah, we don't want none of this, and off they went. So
she's pecked at Nico before through the fence.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. She's and think about that from her perspective, right? Here's a a goose doesn't know the difference between a dog and a coyote, right? They just know it's a predator. They just see big, sharp teeth. And she's taken on Nico before. I mean, Nico's put his nose through the fence just kind of out of curiosity, and she turned around, and kicked him on his nose, and poor pup.
Josh says, I have a close friend that I'll occasionally work on his farm, and his hens like to bite me while collecting eggs. But I showed them who's boss, and they part the Red Sea when I go to collect the eggs now.
Well, hens don't really bite. They might peck at you, but not the same as a goose. You know, a goose is different.
She's drawn blood on me before.
Yeah, and left bruises.
If she gets you just in the right spot, and she wasn't being. It was when she was brooding. She was doing her job. She was protecting her babies, so I couldn't get mad at her. I got onto her and made her back down, but I couldn't get mad at her. But one reason why we ended up not going with a donkey or even a livestock guardian dog, is because they would view our dogs as predators because they wouldn't know the difference either.
Well, they could if we raised them around them, but it would only take one action to really have
It would only take one time of Nico going after one of the animals and a donkey kill him.
Right.
You know, and Nico doesn't go after our animals. Well, he goes after Jenny sometimes.
Right.
But that's because Jenny goes after him first, and he's just putting her in her place. Right. He doesn't do it to hurt her. Yeah. But that's one reason why we haven't gotten that. We have considered a livestock guardian dog before, briefly. But we like our dogs inside with us, and I would feel so guilty having a dog.
Yeah, you know, in order for a livestock guarding dog to work efficiently, it's got to bond with what it's protecting. So it's got to stay out there. It's got to stay out there
at night.
And I understand livestock guarding dogs. I understand people have them and stuff, but not my dogs. My dogs are part of my pack, and they're in here with me and stuff. And that's kind of why the guard geese. The guard geese is a good happy medium. Right.
She can't really protect the goats. I guess she could ward off something, and she'd alert enough that we could go out and protect the goats.
And I'll tell you what, she'll let you know if you're 5 minutes late letting her out in the morning.
Yes, she does.
Especially right up with the time change we just had recently, right? Because we had to move the spring forward, fall back. We had to move the clock back an hour. And so here she's used to being let out because the goose doesn't know you changed the clocks. And so here comes normal time, and all we weren't out there to let her out, and we were laying in bed, and she was. That
sounds more like a dog. Nico, stop.
Come here, Bubba.
So,
Bubby, come here.
What are some other ways that you can protect your animals against predators?
Have a BB gun. Shoot them.
Well, we typically lock our animals up.
Yes,
at dusk.
In a predator-proof. Well, nothing's truly predator-proof, but in a secured thing. Yeah. So the goats are in the barn, closed off. The Jenny and the ducks are in what used to be a dog house.
Yeah.
Well, dog pen, not a house.
We kind of
tore it apart because we were going to get rid of it, and then literally like 2 days later, somebody said that they want to make a duck house. I can't remember who did that.
Yeah, we're tearing it down again and fixing it into something cuter, but that's down the road.
And then the chickens are in what we call a chicken tracker. It's a John Suskovich chicken tracker. So they're locked up at night. And on top of that, not only are they locked at night, we have these solar-powered LED lights attached to the front and the rears. So if anything approaches it, the light kicks on, and of course that scares away most predators because they don't want to be seen. Yeah. Right? So that's one of the ways that we predator-proof it as well. And then and they're all covered with either chain link or hardware cloth. Not chicken wire, because a raccoon can get through chicken wire.
Well, a raccoon can reach through chain link too, but the duck house already had chain link, and they can't reach through any of the areas for that. So there's hardware cloth and stuff on the rest of it. Right. Nico also marks his territory.
Yes, he does.
He takes care of around the house. He doesn't really do the property line per se. Only if he's up there barking at somebody who's walking down the street. That's the only time he really does that. But around our house completely is marked. And all of the gates that go into the the animal enclosures is marked.
Yeah.
And then you'd already mentioned the spreading the
spreading
hair.
the dog hair. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and my supply of dog hair has diminished significantly since Sasha's crossed the Rainbow Ridge, because Nico doesn't shed anywhere as much as Sasha did. Sasha, if you didn't vacuum every day, you had a puppy growing in the corner. Nico's a short-haired German Shepherd, so he does shed, but nowhere near to what Sasha did.
No, but when we brush him, we can put it out there. We'll brush him before we bathe him and sprinkle around especially around the back. The front is a road, although now we've seen it, seen it around the road. And then, are there any other ways that we predator-proof?
Yeah, I know one.
I was thinking that. I'm not going to say it. So.
Chuck marks his territory too.
Yes,
let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. We live in the country, so I don't have to worry about anybody seeing me. I'll go up into the woods or whatever. And yes, I mark my territory as well. So that kind of helps. And
then we also have sensors. So
we
can tell if certain areas of our property, we can tell where that sensor is going off.
So we have about 5 sensors aimed at different directions around the house. And like she said, they're all set with different sounds. So, one sound tells us there's somebody at the gate. A different sound tells us there's somebody at the back gate. A different sound tells us if they're on a different part of the property. So we can tell as soon as it goes off, we know exactly where that is. That also helps for the 2-legged predators as well.
Yes.
And Nico knows when he hears that, he starts barking.
He knows where they're at.
He goes off. Yeah. So if it's a 2-legged predator, all of a sudden they hear this big, mean German Shepherd, and that kind of helps as well. So yeah, there's that process. And then another thing we have is we have blink security cameras. We have one in the duck pen.
We need a few more.
I want to order. So we have one in the duck pen, one in the goats, one with the chicken. It's just the 3 or 4.
That's it for right now.
And you can set them up to send you a message when they detect motion. But right now we got it just set up so it only goes on when you actually log in to look at it. And so we basically listen. So if we hear Jenny going off about something, we'll get on the phone. In fact,
she's just getting on to the girls.
Yeah, she's just getting on the girls. Or at one time when she did it, I'm gonna pull up the link as I'm doing this. She went off on something or another, and we got on the camera, and sure enough, there was a rat in there with him, and she was scaring off the rat. So, and if you have chickens, if you have feed,
you're gonna have
rats. That's why we have barn cats.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's one of the security feeds right there. So that's
the goat pen.
That's the goat pen. It's kind of hard to really see, but so you can see the goats in there.
So we're on baby watch right now. So we're
still on baby watch. Still on baby watch.
For Chica, Daisy's given birth to hers, but not Chica. So.
Right. Yep. Now, do you guys have any questions about anything predators or homesteading or the videos that are playing on the TV in the background or the blue LED
If you haven't checked out our videos, we did post a brand new Goat Tales yesterday.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's one of the better ones that I did.
It's funny. Yeah. It's cute. Yeah. And we have other live streams from the past. We've got other videos that duckaponics and
I got
gardening and
I got to fix the duckaponics system. So, and I posted the goat video as a distraction
from the
elections, because
I even shared it at work today. We have a Slack channel at work, and I shared it on the general. And someone now says, "I've never really thought about it, but now I really want to do goat yoga." So.
Yeah. Any questions about anything? Homesteading. Why? How did Chuck snag such a beautiful woman? Why is Nico so well behaved? Why is Chuck's family so weird?
If there's something you want us to talk about on these live streams, we try to pick a different topic because
Right.
it's obviously not a two-way conversation, and we don't want to be sitting.
Well,
here
it is,
not,
but you got to talk in the chat thing.
You have to ask us questions.
Yes.
So, but if there's a topic around homesteading that you want to know about, or kayaking, or
now, one of our friends said he wants us to talk about farm equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And the only piece of farm equipment, well, I have two pieces of farm equipment, right? One is my John Deere tractor, and the other one is my muscles.
You have an auger now.
Yeah, well, it's not really considered. Well, I guess it is. It's not what I would call
you did
farm equipment.
Post holes with it, but
oh yeah. Excuse me.
But we have done a video that showed the tractor, so you can definitely check that out. Also, we're on Instagram, and
what's that saying?
Josh says we need to have a joint tractor live stream. So
if I can figure that out, we can do that. As you can tell, I have a hard time doing live streaming with just us.
Last week we were 10 minutes getting started because this wasn't working and the video wasn't even coming up on the things. So it took us 10 minutes to figure that
out. I'm almost ready just to scrap OBS and just go with one of the paid services where it's just like 5 clicks, ding, 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 and then that way it's set. I like OBS because it's free and you can do a lot of stuff with it and stuff, but it's also finicky, or I'm stupid, one or the other, or maybe a combination of the two.
I think it's just a new software and we haven't figured out all the kinks to it yet. So we know how to fix the sound now, and we know how to fix the video.
Actually, I'm not sure what I did to fix the sound, to be honest with you.
You did it right here. You turned it on there and you did it right there. So at least that's what I saw. Don't touch anything. We don't want to lose sound.
Yeah, but see, it's supposedly coming across the 2035, which is back there, not even plugged in.
We don't know. But
yeah, don't know. Don't know. Just don't know. So, but we have a fun time on the homestead. We're enjoying the cooler weather.
Oh yes.
We've had a couple fire pits going, and we're enjoying. When I say cooler weather, 68 degrees.
Yeah, it was 68.
68 degrees, and we have a fire pit going up back.
It's funny. We both work from home, so he was teaching or doing a workshop today, and so I had to do my meetings out on the back porch. Beautiful breeze blowing, my wind chimes were going, and I was out there probably for about 2 hours, and I was on with my role sponsor, and the breeze was nice. I'm like, yeah, it's actually really cool today. I love it. And she's like, it's 46 here, or actually no, it was 46 in the morning. It was 60 something when she looked. And I said, yeah, I think it's probably in like the low 70s, as cool as it feels. And I looked and it was 80 degrees. So, but the breeze made it cool.
Hashtag Florida life.
Yep. Josh says he can't wait to come down.
Open invitation. Just give me a holler. Let me know when you want to come down, and we'll pick you up at the airport, or whatever, however we end up doing it. But just be forewarned, if you come down, I may put you to work. Since you do know how to operate a tractor. Don't know if I'll let you drive my tractor. That's a different story. I'm just teasing with you. But yeah, absolutely. Josh is, for those who don't know, is one of my cousins, so that's why I say that. So, anybody else have any other questions? Anything else that you want to talk about or ask us, or homestead related, or?
I don't see anything else, so I guess that's a wrap for tonight. So until next time,
live your own story.